Hello, my name is Peter Dickinson, and today I'm going to speak about anger. I'm not a doctor or psychiatrist, just someone who was born and brought up into anger, and I'm speaking about my own experiences and my own personal coping mechanisms. If you believe you have issues that are beyond the scope of this video, then I strongly recommend you contact your healthcare professional. This is part 4 of a 5-part video tutorial on how we can reduce and overcome anger and improve our relationships with people. In this 4th episode, I'll once more be explaining my own experiences of anger, and I hope that by speaking openly about myself, you'll be able to apply that knowledge learned to other aspects of anger that arise in your life. Now, I'm going to speak about another example of anger, that of acknowledgement. One of the great secrets of relationships is acknowledgement. The behavior of others towards us always includes a hidden gift, even if that behavior appears negative. There's something in it for us to learn. Usually, it's a signal for us to become more aware. Let's say somebody calls us stupid. We can easily turn on the anger, and we've explored together in earlier tutorials how that easily escalates as we remember other instances of similar put downs from this person or others similar to them. But more importantly, we can also use the energy of that anger consciously by asking, what is that person asking me to become more aware of? When we ask ourselves this question, we probably see we were being self-centered. We were being uncaring. We were not acknowledging them. We were not being aware of what was going on in the relationship. When we constantly follow this procedure, we will realize that everyone in our life is acting as a mirror. They're reflecting back at us what we are failing to see in ourselves. In fact, this is how the universe works. What we give out, we receive back. This means we have to constantly let go of our pride in order to undo anger so that we can see the chance for us to grow. And another chance for us to see the exchange as a gift that we can learn from. Very often, an internal dialogue can go on for years about our resentment over the other person's lack of appreciation for what we've done for them. This certainly resonates with me and my siblings. I'm the only one of 6 children that lives away from the region in which we were all raised. For decades, I had travelled back to the region we all call home and visited a different brother or sister. Eventually, my own internal dialogue told me I was not being appreciated by them because they never left their homes to visit me. Also, as well as inquiring about my sibling during a visit, I would also ask of their children and their grandchildren. This was never reciprocated, even though I also have children and grandchildren. I felt all the traffic was one way, and I became sick of carrying the burden of it being just me who kept trying to keep the relationship alive. I can see now that my feeling of their lack of acknowledgement was unfounded. They were simply not thinking that way at all. They were not purposely setting out to make me feel angry. They were just getting on with their lives and all the distraction that entails. Now I realize how silly that internal dialogue is and how it's not supporting me in any way. I can now look inside my small self and see it's pride that's made me cease contact with my siblings. And once that's realized, I can move on to a position where I can choose, or not, to visit a brother or sister and simply enjoy the visit for what it is, without expecting any appreciation. And guess what? On a recent phone call, I was asked about my children and my grandchildren. Another example of me sending out negativity to a person who then changes when I stop sending out that negativity. If this internal dialogue's true for us, it must be the case for others as well. There are people, therefore, that in our life who are walking around with an endless mental stream of thoughts about us having to do with our lack of appreciation of them. How can we self-help? This whole arena of anger can be offset and prevented when we see the enormous value of simply acknowledging the gestures of others towards us. This means that to acknowledge all of their communications to us. If a friend or family member calls us on the phone, thank them for calling us. And the reason for doing this is it makes the other person feel complete and secure with us. It's an acknowledgement of their value in our life, and everyone feels pleased when we acknowledge their value. By this simple mechanism of acknowledgement, it's possible within a matter of days to transform all of one's relationships in a rather dramatic way. This acknowledgement does not have to go on in the outer world, but can take place within us. As we examine our relationships, we can ask ourselves, what have I failed to acknowledge in those with whom I have daily contact? It's a very valuable exercise to pick someone in our life who, in our view, is critical toward us. And now, within ourselves, we begin to look at how we fail to acknowledge them. We surrender all of our negative feelings about them, and we begin to give them credit, affirming their value to us. Their value may simply be that they're a spur to our emotional growth and development. This also holds true for me and my siblings. They all played a part in my development growing up, and I need to acknowledge them and thank them for that. Then, miraculously, the nagging spouse or the scowling neighbour, they're trying to say something. And almost always, this sort of situation, such people, they're not feeling acknowledged for the contribution they are making to our lives. Once their value to us has been acknowledged, the nagging stops. Also remember, we can catch ourselves before our angry emotions run away with us and take a few seconds to stop and breathe, as was covered in earlier video tutorials. We're just one breath away from reducing our anger. In that, once we've stopped the emotion with our 3-second inhale and 3-second exhale repeated 3 times, we can gain control of ourselves and, in this example, acknowledge the things that people in our lives do for us by thanking those people. That means stopping looking inwards to our small self, switch to our large self that looks outward, the part of us that's capable of giving love, compassion, and kindness to others. That will result in better personal relationships and better health. There are 4 other videos in this series, so make sure you get to see them as well. They've all been inspired by David Hawkins in his book Letting Go. I'm Peter Dickinson, born and raised in anger. Not proud of that, but getting better every day. See you next time.